At some point in our lives, many of us think it would be helpful to talk to somebody, a professional somebody, an analyst, a psychotherapist, a counselor. Maybe it's over a specific event, like the loss of a job, the end of a relationship, the death of a loved one. Or maybe it's more general, just a period of time when it's more difficult to cope than usual. Well, that's just the beginning. Now the real work starts. Where do you go? How do you find a therapist that's good for you? Here's Linda McEwen.
Deciding to seek therapy is hard enough, but it's just the beginning.
I never really felt like I was going anywhere. It was a process of looking. No one had taught me, what do I need to know when I am looking for a therapist? What do I want from them?
There are so many different types of therapists practicing so many different kinds of therapy. How do you choose? Where do you start? Psychotherapy is a generic term for the treatment of psychological problems, and there are three basic divisions. First, psychiatrists and GP psychotherapists. They're medical doctors trained in psychotherapy, and they're the only ones who can prescribe drugs. The next group includes psychologists and social workers. They too are trained in psychotherapy and are governed by their associations. Lay people make up the third group. This would include anyone from the minister at your church to a marriage counselor. In fact, there are over 400 different kinds of psychotherapy. But most experts agree it's not so much the therapy that counts as the therapist.
I think that probably the actual type of psychotherapy may in some ways be less important than the psychotherapist who is providing that service. A good psychotherapist, someone who is well trained, should be able to help you independent of the kind of therapy they practice.
So how do you find a good one? Ask your friends, family, or doctor for recommendations or referrals. There may be a local helpline or professional associations, and of course, there's always the Yellow Pages. Then, get on the phone.
I think you can save a lot of legwork by making phone calls because there's a number of pragmatic questions that can be answered right off the bat. Things such as fees, things such as time availabilities.
Fees are important because only psychiatrists and GPs are usually covered by provincial health plans. If you have a private plan, it might cover a psychologist, but otherwise it's up to you to foot the bill. And that can cost anywhere from $75 to $150 an hour.
Every patient should make that important first call. It continues to astound me that people probably spend a great deal more time and energy in picking their cars than they do their psychotherapist.
There are other questions to be asked, like how many sessions will it take and what results can you expect? And there's one other major consideration.
It's very important to feel comfortable with the therapist that you're seeing. And that's why to take your initial interview or session and use it as a discovery, if you will, to see if this is going to work, that it is a right fit, that you have some kind of commonality in background or experience, or that they can understand the problems that you're discussing.
Finding the right therapist is not always easy. It takes time. The sheer number of therapies can be daunting, and no one really knows exactly how many therapists are out there, although the number certainly exceeds 25,000 across Canada.
Psychotherapy is not a licensed act, and as a licensed act, and as not being a licensed act, means that anyone can practice it. I mean, you could put up a shingle yourself and call yourself a psychotherapist if you wished.
So shop around. It's important when you're choosing a therapist. Ask questions. Do some research. Feel comfortable with the person you're about to open up to. And remember, you're the client. If you're not happy, try someone else.